Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful idea that the most successful business leaders don't just run companies, they play chess. And we're going to break down the grandmaster strategies you can actually use to dominate your market.
So let's just jump right in. I want you to think about a riddle for a second.
See, in this game, the pieces aren't carved from wood or stone. Nope, they're your products, your team, your capital.
Because the real game, the one with the highest stakes, is played out every single day in the marketplace. It's a place where every move is calculated, and yeah, every mistake has a price.
And you know what? It's absolutely no coincidence that some of the sharpest minds in business think just like chess grandmasters. They're not just looking at the next move, they're seeing the entire board.
So, how does this actually work? Let's break it down. We're going to start with the most critical territory on the entire board, the part that really determines who's in control.
All right, so first things first, we got to talk about a really key concept, the center. This is where games and markets are won or lost. In chess, it gives your pieces maximum power and mobility. In business, it's your fortress, it's your home turf.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's jump into our first set of strategies. This is all about the opening game, right? It's how you position your pieces for success before the first big conflict even kicks off. I mean, think about it. In chess, you'd never ask a pawn to do a queen's job, right? It just wouldn't make sense. And the exact same thing is true in your organization. Success really starts with putting the right pieces in the right squares, making sure everyone knows their role and can play to their strengths.
And Toyota? Man, they're the absolute masters of this. Their just-in-time system is a masterclass in coordination. Every department is like a piece on the board, performing its one exact function with zero wasted motion. It creates a flow that's so efficient it becomes this unstoppable competitive advantage.
So, once your pieces are in place, what's the next rule of the game? It's all about seizing control of the most important territory. Grandmasters always secure the center first. Spreading yourself too thin, too early, that is a classic amateur mistake.
And grab is just a brilliant example of this principle. For years, they were locked in this brutal war to win the ride-hailing market. That was their center. It was only after they established total dominance there that they started attacking the flanks by expanding into things like finance and food delivery. They won the core battle first.
With the board set, we're now entering the mid-game. And this is where pure calculation meets real artistry, and where the calculated risks you take are what define the outcome.
This is maybe the biggest difference between an amateur and a master. An amateur just reacts to the last move, but a master, they're playing a game that hasn't even happened yet. They are guided by a long-term vision of what the board should look like 10 moves down the road. Just look at Elon Musk and Tesla. I mean, for years, people were saying they were a failure, that they were just burning cash, but Musk was playing a long game, guided by this singular vision. And that long-term strategy is what allowed Tesla to endure all that short-term pain to completely reshape the entire auto industry. All right, this next move, this is one of the toughest, but also one of the most powerful plays you can make, the strategic sacrifice. It's all about giving up something valuable now to gain an untouchable position later on.
Think back to old-school Netflix. For years, their queen, the absolute powerhouse on their board, was that DVD rental business. It generated all the profit, it was the core of who they were.
But then, they made an unbelievable grandmaster-level move. They sacrificed their queen, they deliberately cannibalized their own profitable DVD business to pour every single resource into streaming. It seemed crazy at the time, but that one move ultimately won them the entire game of modern media.
Let's move to the end game. Because look, it's not enough to just have a brilliant strategy. You have to execute it flawlessly, and, this is crucial, you have to protect your king. A brilliant attack means absolutely nothing if you leave yourself wide open for a devastating counterattack. A true master thinks just as much about defense and managing risk as they do about capturing the opponent's pieces.
I mean, we all saw this play out during the pandemic, didn't we? The businesses that had already prepared their digital defenses, their online presence, their supply chains, they weren't just able to survive the disruption. They were perfectly positioned to counterattack and rapidly gain market share, while their unprepared competitors just struggled to stay afloat.
And finally, we got to talk about the one thing that no genius move can ever replace: relentless, grinding discipline. Grandmasters become grandmasters through thousands of hours of practice. Great companies are built the exact same way, through disciplined, repeatable execution.
You know, Starbucks didn't win because they had some secret magical coffee bean.
They won because of their system. A system that was executed perfectly, thousands of times a day, in every single store across the globe. Every location is a carefully calculated move, repeated with just unwavering consistency.
Okay, so we've looked at the board, we've studied the master moves. What does this all really mean for you? How do you actually apply this kind of thinking? It all boils down to this: adopting this grand master mindset. It's about seeing your business not as a series of random events, but as a strategic game that you are actively playing to win. Every decision, every hire, every single product launch is a move on the board.
Look, the bottom line is this. Every single day, you are making moves that determine your future. So the only question left is, are you playing with a grandmaster strategy, or are you just reacting to the last move? The board is yours.